Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The State Council approves the draft law of protecting competition and prohibiting monopoly. Shura Council Office reviews reports on evaluation of electricity and water sector in the Sultanate. And Israel resumes airstrikes in the Gaza Strip after agreeing to an Egyptian proposed truce that failed to halt Hamas rocket attacks. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received a cable of thanks from His Majesty King Felipe VI of the Kingdom of Spain in reply to His Majesty's cable of greetings on the anniversary of his accession to the throne. The State Council, in its 11th ordinary session of the 3rd annual convening round, approved the draft law of protecting competition and prohibiting monopoly after the honourable members made some remarks on it, which was received from the Shura Council earlier in the month. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Dr. Yahya bin Mahfoud Al-Mantari, Chairman of the State Council. It is worth to note that the draft law of protecting competition and prohibiting monopoly is a significant one in the integration of other related laws, namely consumer protection and commercial agencies, which may enhance the competition and open new horizons towards a free and transparent economy. The Shura Council Office reviewed during its meeting a number of ministerial replies, including that of His Excellency the Minister of Health on handling promotion of his ministry's employees. It also discussed the letter of its Youth and Human Resources Committee on expanding the unified system to cover retirement purposes of Omanis working in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, in addition to the report of the Committee of Investigating Facts for Electricity and Water Services on evaluation of the sector in the Sultanate. It was presided over by His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al-Ma'wali, Chairman of the Shura Council. Still to come in our news bulletin. Directorate General of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources opens Brahmi Central Slaughterhouse. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Israel resumed airstrikes in the Gaza Strip 6 hours after agreeing to an Egyptian proposed truce that failed to halt Hamas rocket attacks under a blueprint announced by Egyptian Gaza's neighbor and whose military-backed government has been at odds with Hamas activists. A mutual de-escalation of week-old fighting was to have begun with hostilities ceasing within 12 hours. Hamas armed wing, the Izz al-Din al-Qassam brigades, rejected the ceasefire, saying its battle with Israel would increase in ferocity and intensity. Under the ceasefire proposed, announced by Egypt's foreign ministry, high-level delegations from Israel and the Palestinian faction would hold separate talks in Cairo within 48 hours to consolidate the ceasefire with confidence-building measures. Hamas leaders have said a ceasefire must include an end to Israel's blockade of Gaza and a recommitment to a truce reached in an 8-day war in 2012. It also wants Egypt to ease restrictions at its Rafah crossing with Gaza and the release of hundreds of its activists arrested in the West Bank. The Arab League said in a statement it welcomed the Egyptian initiative to protect the lives of innocent Palestinians. President Mahmoud Abbas, who reached an agreement with the Hamas in April, urged acceptance of the proposal. Iraq's army and militia forces launched an assault today to retake the city of Tikrit from the activists. The defense ministry said ground troops backed by air support began their offensive at dawn against insurgents who have held Tikrit since mid-June. The assault was launched from the village of Oja, some 8 kilometers south of the city. The army retook Oja on the night of July 3rd and has been trying to push north since. The initial fighting today focused around South Tikrit, and the army was also heading to its presidential palace compounds. Soldiers were also fighting to take Tikrit Hospital, which lies on a strategic area of high ground in the city. The UN Security Council Monday unanimously adopted a resolution authorizing the cross-border delivery of humanitarian aid to Syria through 4 new direct routes. Sponsored by Australia, Luxembourg and Jordan, the resolution is aimed at getting aid to nearly 3 million people who have not had secure food supplies and access to basic health services for many months. At least 10.8 million people inside Syria are in urgent need of assistance, according to UN estimates. The UN will no longer need Damascus' approval to deliver aid to Syrians, Luxembourg's envoy to the UN, Sylvie Lucas, said. A car packed with explosives exploded today as it sped through a crowded market in Afghanistan's eastern province of Paktika, killing at least 89 people, one of the most violent attacks in the country in a year. The huge explosion took place not far from the porous border with Pakistan's North Waziristan region, where the military has been attacking hideouts of the Pakistani Taliban in the past few weeks, prompting militants to retreat towards Afghanistan. Police had been tipped about the car and were chasing it when it exploded. In Kabul, a remote-controlled bomb concealed by a roadside killed 2 employees of President Hamid Karzai's media office and wounded 5. The Taliban claimed responsibility. Back to local news, Muscat Securities Market General Index today lost 24.95 points, comprising a decline by 0.35% to close at 7,166 points. The trading value today stood at 3.55 million Omani Rials, comprising a decline by 47.64% compared to the last session, which stood at 6.78 million Omani Rials. The report released by MSM pointed out that the market value fell by 0.22% to reach about 15.15 billion Omani Rials. The report added that the value of shares bought by non-Omani investors reached 397,000 Omani Rials, comprising 11.18%. The value of shares sold by non-Omani investors reached 823,000 Omani Rials, comprising 23.19%. The net non-Omani investment declined by 12.01% to 426,000 Omani Rials. The Ministry of Health stressed the need that healthy pilgrims going to Hajj or Umrah should get the required vaccinations provided by the ministry in all health centers, with the necessity to visit the nearest health institution if they have any symptoms of respiratory infection, fever, cough or shortness of breath within 2 weeks of their return. The Ministry of Health called on all those with chronic diseases, pregnant women, children, the elderly and the immunologically compromised to postpone going to Hajj this year for their own safety. Latest statistics released by the Ministry of Health showed that 8 cases of flu H1N1 were reported in the first half of July, but no new deaths from the diseases during this period. The Ministry of Health also said that no new cases of Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus were reported in the Sultanate since December 2015. With the aim to provide a healthy and safe environment for consumers, the Directorate General of Regional Municipalities and Water Resources opened Brahmi Central Slaughterhouse. The main premises included 3 slaughtering places, waiting halls for men and women, as well as other facilities. It was distinguished by its location as being far away from housing units. It uses the latest mechanisms in this field. Besides, the livestock is examined by a veterinarian to make sure it is safe. The slaughterhouse is managed by an electronic system through monitoring the work progress from an office. The Sports Affairs Department in the Governorate of Musandam organized a number of cultural competitions for the youth. One of such competitions was held in the Wilaya of Bukha with the participation of 12 youths representing all clubs of the Governorate. It focused on numerous topics, namely Islamic culture, Omani history, science, technology, and general information. The participants expressed that such competitions motivate the youth to read books and search the internet to find useful information, as well as develop their intellectual ideas. Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers will be at 4:05 a.m. and Maghrib prayers will be at 7:01 p.m. Now for the general weather forecast. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of the far and nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear to partly cloudy skies with chances of scattered rain, occasionally thunderous, accompanied by gust winds over parts of the Hajar Mountains during the afternoon. Winds will be southerly to southwesterly to moderate to active along the coast of Arabian Sea, while it will be southerly to southeasterly to moderate in the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coastal areas of Arabian Sea will be rough with a maximum wave height of 4 meters, and along the rest of the coast it will be moderate with a maximum wave height of 2 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The State Council approves the draft law of protecting competition and prohibiting monopoly. Shura Council Office reviews a report on evaluation of electricity and water sector in the Sultanate. And Israel resumes airstrikes in the Gaza Strip after agreeing an Egyptian proposed truce that fell to halt Hamas rocket attacks. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night.